Welcome back to my channel. I'm Joe with Smokin Joe's Pit Barbecue. On today's video, we're going to be making up some Sheboygan Brats and also some green chili and cheese brats. Stay tuned. You can see, look at this bark. It's crazy. Oh man, this is perfect. It helps to start with a nice sharp knife, okay? Oh my goodness. Look at that. All right, before we get to cutting on these pork shoulders, I do want to show you guys the gloves. I often get asked which gloves I use on my videos, and these are the Raven gloves. You can buy these at your local auto parts store like O'Reilly Auto Parts. And one thing I do like to use under my Raven gloves, this glove right here will save you from getting cut. You know, there was one time where I didn't use this cut glove. I was just opening up the package. I think it was some briskets or something that I was gonna smoke, and I cut myself. Now I had the black glove on, but that didn't save me. Had I had this cut glove on, it definitely would have kept me from getting cut. Okay, so oftentimes you guys will see this, but I like to cover it so I don't get any juices on it, if you will. All right, so both of these pork shoulders are weighing in at 17.6 pounds. Now they do have the bones still in them. What I'm gonna do is take the bones out and weigh them, and then deduct that from the 17.6 pounds to figure out my spice blend. Again, I am making Sheboygan brats today, pretty popular up in Wisconsin. So I'm just gonna cut pork steaks. If you guys haven't seen my pork steak video, check that out. Try to cut around that bone. I will be cutting these into cubes, so it really doesn't matter. All right, so just carve your way around that bone. I'm gonna finish cutting this up, and I'll bring you guys right back. All right, so I've got both pork shoulders deboned, and I've got the bones here. And I gotta tell you that this 6-inch boning knife from Downstrong really makes it easy to carve around these bones, okay? So there's a piece of meat right here in this bone, this piece right here, that gets really tricky to get out. And I gotta tell you, that 6-inch boning knife, you're able to go around this little curve right here and just pop this little nugget of meat right out. All right, so I'm just gonna weigh these two bones right here. Now they do have a little bit of meat, very little. Now you can boil this down and make some pork stock if you want. I will not be doing that. These are going right in the trash as soon as I get done with weighing them. So let's weigh them out here. 1.9 ounces minus the 17.6. All right, so about 15.5 pounds of pork shoulders, what we have left, which is perfect because I've already pre-measured out enough of the seasoning for 15 pounds of brats, okay? So I'm using the Sheboygan Brat seasoning from PS Seasonings today, and they have a ton of really good seasonings. I will leave a link in the description box so you guys can check out their website and see the tons of flavors that they have. You can also buy your high temp cheese that I'm gonna be using in this video as well. All right, so the next step is I'm just gonna cube these up into small cubes, if you will, just like this. And then I'm gonna add my seasoning, so I'll bring you guys right back. All right, so I've got my meat cut up. Now it's time to season the meat. And again, I'm using this PS Seasonings Sheboygan seasoning. And Sheboygan is a funny word. You guys should play a drinking game to this video here. So I pre-measured out for 15 pounds of pork, which is perfect. So I'm just gonna mix this up. Now Sheboygan is a place up in Wisconsin, and I gotta tell you, they're really proud of their bratwurst. You know, I thought for the longest time that Wisconsin was known for their cheese. So Wisconsin is also known for their bratwurst, and they're pretty serious about their brats over there. In fact, that's where PS Seasonings is located. That's also where Johnsonville Sausage has their headquarters. And obviously Johnsonville sausage is what you find at the stores. Now that I'm making my own sausage, you know, I don't have to buy those Johnsonvilles. And trust me, this is a lot better than buying the store-bought brats, okay? So I'm gonna mix this up really, really well. And I've gotta tell you, it's got some really good aromas coming from the seasoning. It smells like bratwurst already. All right, so this is gonna sit in my fridge for a whole day, let the seasonings kind of melt into the pork. And that's also gonna allow the pork to firm up on you so it's not as loose. So it will firm up. I'm not gonna cover it up. This is just gonna sit in my fridge as you see it here. Stay tuned. All right, so it's the very next day, but before I get to grinding and stuffing the casings, I do wanna go over the ingredients that we used in this recipe. So half of this batch is gonna be the Sheboygan brats, and I have 15 pounds, so I'm just gonna weigh out 7.5 pounds and 7.5 pounds. Half of that is gonna be my green chili cheese brats, okay? All right, so I wanna talk about the Sheboygan seasoning from PS Seasonings. They do recommend 1 tablespoon per pound of meat that you're using. I've got 15.5 pounds, so I use a little bit less than a cup. Now 1 cup is 16 tablespoons, okay, just an FYI. If I had 16 pounds, I would have used a full cup, but I used a little bit less than a cup. All right, so let's talk about the cheddar cheese for a little bit. A rule of thumb on cheddar cheese is 10 to 15% of the total weight. So I'm using 7.5 pounds of pork times 454. Now the 454 is there's 454 grams in a pound, okay? That gives me 3,405 grams times 15%, 510.75 grams. Now, this green chili that I am using is really, really hot, okay? This is from Hatch, New Mexico, and they call this the Triple X, and it is extremely hot. In fact, I peel these without any gloves, and my hands are still tingling, okay? It's that hot. So the measurement for this is I wanted about half of that, or maybe a little bit less than half, because it is really, really hot. All right, so as far as my green chili, I ended up going with 8% of the total weight. Again, remember, 3,405 grams is 7.5 pounds times 8% gives me 272.40. I just rounded that up to 273 grams, and this is about how much you have, probably 2 cups, okay? So I'm gonna go get the meat out of the fridge and the equipment out of the freezer. We'll be right back. All right, so I've got the meat out of the fridge and it has firmed up. Let me show you guys a little piece here. So it's nice and firm and the rub has really melted into the meat. So I'm just gonna start with putting a few pieces down the chute here. Never start your meat grinder dry. Okay, and what I like to do is load this hopper with some of your meat. That way it's easier just to pass it through here. I gotta tell you, this smells really, really good. So I'm gonna start with the 10mm die first. Then I'm gonna change it to the 4.5mm die. I want a nice smooth texture. All right, so I'm just gonna turn on my grinder. The important piece is to keep everything ice cold, okay? So the equipment sat in my freezer for about 2 hours. Get it nice and cold. As you can see, I've got some frost on there. You don't want the pork to smear on you, if you will. That fat will smear on you if it's too warm. All right, so I'm gonna continue to grind this meat down. I'll bring you guys back when I change the die. Stay tuned. All right, let's change up this die right here. Now, if you have some extra meat in here, just go ahead and take it out and put it in your mixture. All right, so I'm just gonna change out the pan here. Fill up my hopper a little bit. So this meat still feels really cold. So I'm gonna put some down the chute here. Just like that. Turn on my grinder. I want to show you guys the consistency. Okay, so here's the 4.5mm die, and here's my 10mm die. So you can see the difference, okay? So I'm gonna grind the rest of this up, and we'll be right back. All right, so I've already separated the pork. This is 7.5 pounds. So to this, I'm gonna add my cheddar cheese. This is ice cold. You can also get this cheese. This is a high temperature cheddar cheese from PS Seasonings, and my green chili. Okay. Obviously, you don't want to be passing your cheese through your grinder because you will end up with nothing but powdered cheese, if you will. So I'm just going to mix this up. And I am going to add about a cup of ice cold water. Now, this is filtered water. I'm going to add half a cup first and check the consistency. I'm liking the way this feels already. Ooh, it smells spicy. And it's still really cold. All right, let's check it here. Okay, could use a little bit more water. Get a little bit more tackier. All right, that feels really good. Let's do the old hang test, if you will. Oh yeah, that feels excellent right there. Okay, And as far as the distribution, I've got cheese and green chili in almost every bite, all right? So I'm gonna load my container and try to take out any air pockets. All right, so I've got my container stuffed. Just gonna put my container here on my stuffer and crank that handle down. Just like this. Now you wanna put your meat right here at the tip. So if it moves too fast, you can just turn the handle back a little bit. And that looks good. A little bit more. All right, that looks good to me. So I've got my aluminum pan here. Just gonna put a little bit of fresh water down in here. And I've got my casings. Again, I got these from PS Seasonings as well. So just grab one of these. These are natural hog casings. Open up one end. And again, this is like those small balloons that clowns make poodles out of. You gotta find the end here. Stick 2 fingers in there and pick up some of that water. Now these do come packaged in salt, so rinse them off and then let them sit in warm water for about 2 hours. So just like that. What I like to do is lift the casing and run the water through it. This is gonna untangle it. As you saw there, it was tangled. Okay, put it back down. A little bit more water in the casing. And this helps when you're putting the casing on the tube, that water does. And these rubber gloves do make it a little bit harder to put the casing on the tube, but just be patient. You'll get it. So for those of you guys that are playing the drinking game, Sheboygan, there you go, you're welcome. All right, so as you get towards the end here, just pull it out just a little bit, enough to give you enough room to tie a knot here. Just like that, nice and tight. And squeeze that casing in there. All right, let's get to making some sausage. Now what I like to do is just hold it this way, and you can guide the sausage into the casing and just let it kind of go by itself, okay? Whoa. So we already had a blowout on this casing, and that happened really quick. So what I like to do at this point is just cut the casing right here. Take this sausage mixture out of the casing and put this back in your stuffer and start all over again. We're gonna have to put a knot. And I'm kind of glad this happened so you guys can see that it happens that quick. So this casing may have had a hole already, and that's probably why that happened. Or maybe I overstuffed it. There's a lot of reasons why this happens, okay? So just make your knot again. Just like that. And start over. All right, so I know what's happening is this casing is stuck back there. You see that, how it happened? So you see that, how it flowed as soon as I moved the casing up? The casing was too far back, and I should have known that. All right, so let's start right here. And that's what happened, the casing got caught up on me. So easy does it, just like this. Just let the casing kind of guide itself out. All right, so as you get to the end, just crank it back the other way, pull out your casing and tie it out right here. All right, so I'm just gonna grab another hog casing, stuff the rest of these sausages, and we'll be right back. Sheboygan. All right, so I've got these casings completely filled up, and this took about 10 minutes, okay? Not a very long time at all. Now I did add some ice cubes to the tray just to keep everything nice and cold. So what I like to do to twist these is pinch around the size of the broth that you want, right here, and then pinch again right here, and then just twirl it, okay? I found this makes it really easy, like this, okay? So that looks really good right there. And then again, pinch, go over about 6 inches or so, pinch, and then twirl. Just like that, all right? So I'm gonna finish these up and we'll start on our Sheboygan Brats. Stay tuned. All right, so I've got the Sheboygan sausage mixture out of the fridge and it's nice and tacky. I added about 3/4 cup of water, got it all mixed up. So now I'm just gonna load my stuffer here. So one thing that I noticed about this sausage mixture is that I didn't get any air pockets in the sausage casing. Now, if you guys saw my beef and pork sausage video, that sausage did get air pockets and I used the number 10 die twice. So I'm thinking this finer grind is gonna have less air pockets because it's just a much finer grind. You don't have those air pockets, okay? So I'm just gonna put this on my stuffer, just like that. Get it started. And again, if you're making two different flavors, if you have a plain flavor like this Sheboygan mixture that I'm making, I would highly recommend that you run that past your stuffer first. That way you're not mixing any spicy ingredients in with the other sausage. Okay? So I'm just gonna load the casing on here. All right, so I've already filled up my stuffing tube with some of the sausage mixture. Just tie your knot here at the end. And pull it up. And let's get to stuffing. All right, so I've got the cases completely stuffed with our Sheboygan sausage mixture right here. Now, one thing you'll notice is there's probably a little bit more of the green chili cheese brats, and the reason for it is if you notice, I left these a little bit thinner than I left the brats. I mean, these suckers are girthy, okay? Nothing wrong with a little girth, right? So those are gonna be really good. Now, technically, you wanna let these dry out in your fridge for a day, but we're gonna have some of these for dinner. I'm actually just gonna cut about 4 links of each flavor of the Sheboygans right here. I'll be smoking those 4. And let me grab 4 of the green chili and cheese. So I'm gonna boil these 8 brats with some beer and onions. Then we're gonna smoke them at 275 degrees. Stay tuned. All right, so I've got some beer and some onions here coming to a boil. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my bratwurst in there. These are my Sheboygans. Man, these are gonna be delicious. And here's my green chili cheese. Well, I didn't unlink them if you notice, okay? All right, so you want your bratwurst to turn a nice white color. So once that happens, probably 7 to 10 minutes. I'll let you guys know exactly how long that takes. Then I'll pull them out of the beer and put them on the smoker. Stay tuned. All right, so the brats have been boiling for about 10 minutes, and this is the color you want, nice white color. So I'm gonna let them sit in the beer for about 5 minutes, then we'll put them on the smoker. Stay tuned. All right, we're outside of my Yoder Y640 pellet smoker, and I've got the temperature set at 275. And look at these plump, juicy brats right here. So I just want them to get some color and a little bit of smoke flavor. This isn't gonna take very long, probably 7 minutes. I'll come back and flip them, and that'll be it. We'll see you guys inside. All right, so the bratwurst are ready, and the total cook time in the smoker was 40 minutes. Got them to 165 internal. Let's cut them up and see how we did. All right, let's get into the bratwurst and see how we did. First, I'm gonna cut into these green chili cheese ones. And take a look at the inside. Look at that. Perfect cheesy goodness. A little bit of green chili there. Man, these are gonna be tasty. They're perfectly cooked. The texture is perfect. Now let's try the regular Sheboygan brats. Let's see how these look. Oh man, that is perfect. Look at that. Got a little bit of a smoke ring. Again, 40 minutes in the smoker. These are gonna be really tasty. Let's give them a taste. All right, let's give these bratwursts a try and see how we did. First, I'm gonna try the Sheboygan brats, see how we did. Nice little smoke ring, smells good. I gotta tell you, that bratwurst is really good. It's got a very good traditional bratwurst flavor, a little bit of smoke flavor. That is really tasty. Now let's give these green chili cheddar brats a taste. Look at that. All right, so I gotta tell you that green chili cheddar brat, man, that is fantastic. The flavor The green chili is there, the cheddar cheese. That's a really good bratwurst. Well, this is the third video that I've made sausage or bratwurst, and I gotta tell you, these are my favorite by far. The bratwurst have a really good flavor by themselves, but these green chili cheddar brats are fantastic. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button. Until next time, Joe with Smokin Joe's Pit Barbecue. See ya.